Welcome to The Social Stack, your go-to channel for real estate marketing tips based in technology. I'm Amy Stack, and today we are actually having a mastermind session about different ways you can market your listing, and we'll show how to create a checklist so that you don't have to keep reinventing that wheel. That will be embedded right into your command pipeline to tell you every time what step you need to take next. So to open up, we are doing a hybrid session today. So we've got in person and we've got on Zoom. I'm going to encourage everybody to put their cameras on and use their mics to raise your hand, chime in when you feel necessary. But I would love to know what you guys are already doing, what you're looking to get out of today, and if there's any like hot questions you have. So let's start with what types of things are you guys, what bring you to the mastermind today? What were you hoping to get out of it? The checklist, okay. Oh, perfect. Perfect. So Mike in the room with us says that he's got a listing coming up. They can't hear you, so I'm repeating. That he's got a listing coming up, so we want to just make sure that that's perfect. Anybody else have something they wanted to get out of today?
Are we doing a digital one?
Or hybrid? Yeah.
For me, it's not only the checklist, but the timing of when to do the items.
Yeah, or like the order of when to do
Yeah.
what, that type of thing. Perfect. I know you guys probably can't see on the board, but I'll keep this in mind while we're talking today. So timing / order.
We can
Anything
see
else?
the board perfectly.
What was that?
We can see the board perfectly.
Oh, great. Awesome. That means I should probably stand this way. I don't know. All right. Anything else you guys want me to put on the board? Oh, I see some stuff came in the chat. Is last month's video on newsletters? Yes, all my videos are on that channel. Thank you for asking. New to command, so any business process that simplifies it is helpful. Great, you're in the right spot. And then we can see the board. Awesome. I like it. All right, well, let's get started. What are some things that you guys are already doing or think maybe you should be doing, but you're not sure if that really, we should actually be doing this to market? What are some things, ideas that you have around marketing right now for, I have a listing. Let's start at the beginning. I have a listing coming up. What do I need to do? So get it on the MLS. Well, what about I guess that's marketing, right? Get it on the MLS. How else do we want to market our listings? Flyers. Photos. That's a squeaky pen. What was that? Social media. That's it? He's like, that's all I got. What about you guys on Zoom?
Open house.
Open house. This pen is dying. That's okay. We can see it to type it in later. What else do you guys think about when you are talking about listing marketing? Okay, the board's about to get real small. I'm going to share my screen. So you think we have all the hot buttons covered, all the big stuff? What about, oh, go ahead.
How does one decide whether you have a broker tour or not?
All right, so open house / broker tour. We can talk about that. What about landing pages? Do you guys do anything with landing pages right now? Anybody? Yeah. Put that in there. Brochures. We'll put that by flyers. Brochures. Anything else I'm missing?
For sale sign.
What'd you say, Patty?
For sale sign.
Oh yeah. I'm putting direct mail. For sale sign. Okay, so what happens when, oh, what about emails? Do you guys ever use emails to market your listings? I think something came in the chat. Let me open that up. Yeah, Mike is saying that when a lot of times when he closes with somebody, the next day he'll get all kinds of emails from that company saying what, listings they have coming up and what other activities they've been doing too. Heather said property website, that's the same as the landing pages, so that's perfect. Prep clients to be ready for pictures. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do, we have lots of great ideas on the board. So like, how do we get them into Command? And then I'm sure you guys will kind of come up with some more ideas as we're doing this. So in Command, what we want to do is actually go into our pipeline. So that's going to be in opportunities. You're going to click the little handshake. Let me make this full screen here. There we go. So we're going to click the handshake. Move my Zoom window to the other side. And we have the pipelines in here. So there's 3 pipelines. There's green is listings, this like red orange is buyers, and the purple is for leases. So today we're talking about listing marketing. So we're going to work on that green pipeline. And there's cultivate, appointment, active, under contract, and closed. Where do you think marketing belongs? Does it belong in appointment, activate? Obviously it's not in closed, right? Where do you start marketing? Or you start prepping for marketing? This is the participation part. So you get the agreement, Mike says. Oh, here, something came in the chat, I think. Cultivate. Well, if you don't have the listing yet, would you start it in the cultivate phase?
No, but your planning can start then.
Heather wrote active. So we want to put the checklist where you're going to start using it, utilizing the information. Because if you're in cultivate and you don't have the listing, are you going to spend the time and money to market the property? You can't even get in to do photos at that point, right? And we got another chat that says active. Okay, so what I'm going to do is open up active. So let's say we're at the appointment, they sign the listing. Okay, they move from appointment to active. So we're going to open active. And then in active, currently the way my account is set up is we have staging, showing, negotiations, and then there's a couple more down to the right. But obviously when we're getting ready to market, that's going to be earlier on the left-hand side. So maybe I put marketing in staging. Maybe we add a whole section that's just marketing. What do you guys think? Should marketing be its own stage inside active?
Yes.
All right. So to edit your checklist, before I show you how to edit it, do you guys see this Betty one right here? And then in the bottom right hand corner, it says 0 out of 0. So there's a checklist here that has no items in it. So there was not a checklist set up, it's just blank. So if I wanted to make one specifically for Betty, I could click on that 0 out of 0 and add an individual checklist item that will only apply to this transaction. What we want to do today is actually make a checklist item that's going to populate as soon as we add somebody to that part of the pipeline. So you don't have to go type it in every time. Does that make sense? Perfect. I got a nod in here. So I'm going to say that. Oh, I got nods on Zoom too. Great. Okay. So to make a checklist that's going to apply to everything going forward, you want to be in the pipeline in the area you want the checklist. So we're in active here. And then you're going to go all the way up to the top right and hit edit stages. So then in edit stages, you can see my stages that I already had set up: staging, showing, negotiations, and legacy. Patty says that she thinks that marketing should be its own stage. So I think that's a great idea. So we're just going to start with that add stage button at the top. And then I'm going to put stage name, and we can call it marketing. We can marketing, however you want to divide it up. Maybe you want 2 different marketing stages. I'm just gonna call it marketing for today. And I'm just going to hit save. And now marketing has been added. You guys see that at the bottom of the list right here? Okay, so the way you want these to line up is the first thing should be the first chronological thing that happens. So what do you do first, staging or marketing? Okay, so staging's good to stay where it is because staging happens first. What do you do first, staging or showing? I mean, marketing or showing? Marketing. Okay, so then if I click this little box here with the up and down arrows on it, I can click it and I can just drag that marketing where I want it to go. So we want it between staging and showing. So we want to get our staging ready, then we want to do our marketing, and then we want to show the property. Does that make sense to everybody? Seems logical. All right, perfect. So now we've got our new stage set up. Now what we want to do is actually make that checklist. So if we look just to the right of marketing, you'll see this blue text here that says 0 out of 0 items. If I go ahead and click on that, you can see I have an option to add an item. Pretty straightforward. So we're just going to add our items. Okay, so we have our list over here of things we talked about that we want to do to market. So we want to order the sign, right? Order sign install. Oops. Apparently I can't type. Oh, I just had a capital. That's okay. Order sign install. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. What was the next thing in our list? So we have get on MLS. Do you think that falls in this category? What do you guys think? Ooh, order pictures. Consensus? Is that next? Okay. We'll hit save on that. I see some nods, so I'm assuming that means we like this so far. I'm just going to put some of these other ones in there. Flyer brochures. What else do we have? Social media. We have open house or broker tour. Okay, so now we've got all of these in here. We have more on the board, so we can keep using those to add in. I just wanted to get this started. I think something came in the chat here. Does Command have any of the checklist as an editable template? You will be creating your own. Good question. You'll create your own checklist. And the pipeline is already there. Yes. So the pipeline's already set up. Those 5 phases will never change. You can customize all the stages and the checklist items within those phases. So we have these checklist items in here. I didn't put them quite all in here, but now you can see if it's easier for you to just type them all in, I can also reorder here just like we reordered the stage. So we think that the first thing we want to do is order our sign install and then pictures. Is that the consensus for everybody? So Mike says unless the property needs cleaning, but that would probably go before staging, right? You'd need to clean it before you stage it. So that would go on your staging checklist. So you just want to think through the order of everything happening as you're making your checklist. You can always come in and edit them, right? So what else do we have? What after you order your pictures, what do you want to do? Put it on the MLS, so let's add an item there because that's going to push out to all those third-party sites, right? I gotta move my Zoom so I can hit save. Oh, there we go. I did it. I didn't have to move. You guys are really quiet today. This doesn't work if you don't talk. Mike's the only one talking. You should teach. Patty's talking too. All right. So what else? Do you want to move any of these around? What items are we missing? What do you do for these different items? Yeah. So we're going to move MLS. Then we have social media, flyers, open house, broker tour. Okay, so let's talk about social media. Who's using social media right now to advertise their listings? Mike is, Will is.
Yeah.
I think that was Bobby. Perfect. So talk to me about social media. What are you guys doing on social right now? You have a listing coming up. We've put it on the MLS. Now what? Where are you putting it? What are you doing on social media?
Instagram, Facebook, story. My stories are
All right. So do you guys need to make graphics before you put it on social media, or are you just using an image from the MLS or like from your photographer? Either or. If you wanted to hand this system off to somebody to take over for you, would either or work for them? Or do they need to know what to do? Right? So what do you think? You guys, do you make a graphic? Do you use an MLS picture? What are you guys doing?
We make a graphic.
Okay, so I'm gonna change this social media one here by going to the far right, hitting the three dots, hitting edit. And I'm gonna say make social media graphic.
Can you do sub items under these?
No, but we can add another item. So I can, what's your sub item?
I was thinking a video tour or a Matterport type thing.
Video tour. So you would need to make that before we go on social, right?
Yes.
So maybe we'll put that up here. Again, you can always reorder as it makes sense for your business. See, another chat came in. Oop, I missed the button. Come on, Zoom. Yeah, we'll show you. The chat says, can you show us what the checklist looks like when complete? Yes, we're going to show you that too. We just got to make it first. Create a link for property info and pictures. All right, so we want to, so that would be like the landing page, right, Heather? Oops, I didn't mean to hit save. So add an item. So create link or landing page. However you guys want to identify that item, and then hit save. Okay. And that could go up by social media, because maybe you want to put that link in your social media post, right? You can't post on social media if you don't have something to post about, right? So we're going to make our graphic and we're going to get our link ready. So then after that, we're going to post on social. So wherever you guys post. So Mike suggested, putting it in his story, putting it on a business page, putting it on a profile. Do you guys have other ideas of where you could post about your properties? Groups? See some nods. What are you guys doing on social right now? I just see nods. Everybody likes Mike's ideas. What are you guys using for social?
If you do a blog, you could post it there.
Groups, blog, maybe LinkedIn, right? Story, business page. Just list out all the pages you want to, or all the places you want it to go to, so you don't have to remember every single time where to post it. See, another chat came in. All right. So you think that's a good start? Am I missing anything major? Obviously, if you want to put like Instagram, Facebook, maybe you have a YouTube video channel you're putting it on, put all of that in your checklist. It's gonna be a little different for every person, right? Can't see through my cursor here. Okay, so I'm gonna add that under social media. Oops. There we go. So now we got that in the order we want. And then maybe we make our flyers and brochures. We do our open house and we do our broker tour and other items. Oh no, maybe I got them all. Oh, email and direct mail. So maybe you guys, what do you do for direct mail? What is that?
New listing postcards, just listed postcards.
So you do circle prospecting, right? So maybe you say, let's say you do 200 cards, right? So direct mail 200 around the property, right? You can get as detailed as you want in this description. You could just say send postcards. It's whatever you prefer. Has anybody noticed that on the right-hand side it says client update?
You can actually let them know that you're working.
You sure can. So one of the really cool things about this checklist is that you have the client update option. When you are in the client's contact card, you will always, or in the opportunity card, you'll have the option to check these off for each person. But if you know you always want the client to get the update when you do it, go ahead and just check it off on this checklist so it's pre-checked for you. Then you don't have to manually go through every transaction and check that box. I see how that could save you some time. So that means once you've selected the box on the left-hand side that you completed it, your client will receive an email update letting them know that you did it. It's pretty cool, right? Is that going to save you some time?
Absolutely.
And it's going to save them from wondering, what are you doing to market my listing? What am I paying you for? Right? You guys ever get that question? All
It
right.
also guarantees that every client gets the same experience.
100%. That is correct. That's a fantastic point, Patty. That is why we want these checklists, so that we make sure that everybody's getting the same activities. Now, there might be times like Patty asked, when do you do a broker tour? When do you not? So maybe you don't want to have that checked off. Maybe you don't want to do that one, right? So you'll know based on your processes when to do that. But let's talk about that a little bit. When do you do how do you decide when you want to do an open house? How do you decide when a property warrants a broker's tour? What are you guys doing right now? What are your deciding factors? What was it? Oh, Mike says how good the property looks. Yeah. What's the demand, right? What else? Why do you guys decide to do an open house or not? Let's start with open houses first. How do you choose?
Sometimes it's because the seller insists.
Yes, so seller request. That's a big reason. What else? Kelly, I'm gonna call on you. Your face popped up on my screen. How do you guys decide to do opens? Is it based on the seller?
It's usually based on demand for the property, demand in the area.
Well, so let's talk about that a little more. Right now, there's lots of demand, right? I just listed my house, if you guys didn't know. We did an open house one day, but not 2 days. So what constitutes high demand or necessity for that? Why would that benefit your client to have an open house or not?
You don't have to have many showings. You can just say there's an open house rather than having back-to-back showings, and then everybody sees that there's high demand.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a great point. Having an open house is nice because, one, you're creating excitement with the people that are there. All these people want to see it, so let's get our offer in, right? You're also helping your sellers because you aren't having them leave every half an hour for a new showing, right? You just get everybody in that same, 2 to 4 hour window, and then they can have part of their day to, go spend with family, or they can come back to the house before or after that and not worry about having to accept a bunch of showings. So what about broker tours? How do you guys decide if or when to do a broker tour? Oh, good question. Mike says, what's a broker tour? Who's done one? Nobody's done broker tours? Does anybody know what a broker tour is? I'm going to call on Kathy. She knows what a broker tour is. She's smiling at me.
Broker tour is when you put it out there for the other agents to come and visit. So typically, let's say, for example, in Glen Ellen, they're often on Thursday. They don't have to be, but they often are. Wheaton, they're often on Tuesday. So you can host a broker open tour and other agents will come and see your property. So it's a great way to expose your listing to other agents. If you are a new or newer agent on this call, I highly recommend you go, because you can meet other agents and use it as a bit of a networking opportunity, so that when you're opposite them in a transaction, it's going to bring attention to your offer. It's just a great way, and it's a great way to know the market by getting out there and seeing all of those properties that are on the market. So it will make you the market expert by going and seeing them.
Yeah, so it's good for agents. You guys can go preview stuff for your clients that way, but it's also good to know the market. So when something else pops up a couple streets over and your client's like, well, what did they list their house for? Is mine better? Is theirs better? What's the difference? Why is theirs priced at that and you're recommending this for me, right? Well, you've already gone to the tours. Now you know how to have
Either
that
side of the
conversation.
transaction, your client's going to ask you, when you use a property for a comp, have you been in it? And your answer will be yes, if you went to that broker tour and walked through.
Yeah, and then on the listing side, hosting that broker tour helps people know how your property compares to others. It can help your clients, because maybe they can rule it out or rule it in for their client. So your client wouldn't have to do a showing for somebody that's not actually interested. Or if the client of the broker that's attending the tour is iffy on the property and the broker goes and takes a look, well, they can say, no, this is right. We should come back and actually tour this property. This could be a good fit for you, right? It gets some more exposure to the market, and then you get agent feedback. So what does the agent think about the price of your house? What do they think about the updates that your clients recently made? You know, that type of stuff. So you can provide all of that to your sellers as well. So does that help you guys understand broker tours and how to choose when to do one a little bit more?
Yes, thank you.
Of course. All right, so I'm going to leave those two unchecked just so you can see some of them unchecked when we get to the next phase here. I'm going to check direct mail. All right, so let's say you got your whole list built out and you're ready to make it a permanent list. We're going to go ahead and hit save right here. And now my list is set up, and I can always come back in to that marketing tab, and I can hit edit and add, move, delete, whatever I want. It's, you know, nothing's set in stone. You can always change it. So now that I've got my list created, I'm going to go back to my pipeline, and that was inactive. So I'm actually going to take a listing that's in my appointment section and move it into active so you can see how that checklist populates, because we've created that checklist. However, anything that's already in place in the pipeline that's at that point or past it, that checklist isn't going to populate onto that transaction because it thinks it's already happened. So anything new coming into that stage will get the checklist automatically applied. Does that make sense? I see some nods. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to go into my appointments, and I see I have this test here for Alex. So I'm going to click on the card and drag it into active. See how it highlights blue? So that's going to let me move it into the active phase. And then I'm just going to click on active, and you know you're in there because there's that blue underline under it. And there's the listing. So our list, where did we end up putting it? Is it in staging?
Marketing.
Marketing. So my checklist is still saying 0, or it's saying 0 out of 6 because this is my list for my staging. So let's say I did all of my checklist items. Now we're moving into marketing. So you just drag it over. And now you can see I've got 11 items. So those two checklists obviously had different things in them, right? One had 6 items, one had 11, right? Okay, so I'm going to click on my checklist. And now everything we just typed in is already here waiting for us. So from this spot, we can check off when we've completed something. We can even set a date for when it's due. I'm going to just say that's due tomorrow. And that task will appear in your tasks inside Command to tell you, hey, this thing is due today. So you'll get a little reminder. As long as you're checking your tasks, you'll get a little notification in the bell on top of Command in the top right there. And then it'll also show up in your task list if you go into the task icon. So I'm going to hit close on this. You can see, oh, before I do that, you can see that all these client updates are pre-checked. So you don't have to manually go in there and check them, except for the 2 we left blank. Okay. You can, if you want to make your life, you know, if you like a clean slate and you don't want to see stuff that you've already done, we've got this fun little toggle that says hide completed. So we checked off the first one. If I hit that hide completed, now that's gone. So you don't have to look at it and think about it anymore. If you're like, oops, I actually want to see that, just unclick the toggle and then back it comes. I'm gonna hit close. We didn't talk about the client update on that screen because if you notice right here, do you see where it's a little red right there and it says off? We have our client updates off right now. So you still have the ability to choose if you want to send that out to them. Maybe you have somebody that doesn't care about that, or they're like, you're sending too many emails, right? And they don't actually want those updates. They're not going to get it if it says off. So how do we turn it on? Does anybody know?
On their opportunity card?
Yep, so we're gonna click on their name. Do you see up in the top right, it says client updates? Everybody see that little button right there? See some nods? We're gonna hit client updates. And then we can actually choose when we want and how frequently we want our clients to receive those updates. So send daily progress. And at what time? Do they like it first thing in the morning or do they want it at the end of the day, right? Have that conversation with them. And then set up the time and you can choose AM or PM. And who is it sending from? It's always going to send from you, the owner of the opportunity. Unless you're on a team, you should have some different options there. And then who is it sending to? So yes, it's going to send to our seller. Do we also want to send it to an assignee? So I have my front desk labeled as an assignee on this contact. So that means that I'm working on this transaction with the front desk. So anytime I send out an update, now the front desk will get it too. So you don't have to even send a separate message to your team members if you're on a team. And you can also add contacts. Let's say there's two sellers, right? Let's say their brother is an amazing marketing person and they want to know everything that's going on to make sure that you're serving your client at a high level. You know, my brother says this, my brother says that. Well, let's update your brother too, right? So you can add that in. Has anybody experienced that? I see some snickers on the, do you see them giggling? I've heard about it. I think something came in the chat here. Let's see. Oh, I missed a couple. Oh no, I got that. I got that. Okay, so tip on. Okay, so what if you have some items that take longer to complete in one stage and you need to start on the next stage before that's complete? So the idea of the checklist is that you're going to finish that checklist before you move on. So if you have something that's going to take longer, I might just make a task for it instead of adding it to the checklist. That would be my recommendation. Because once you move your card, you won't see that checklist from the previous stage anymore. So that's a good question. And oh yeah, task part 1, task part 2, exactly. That's a great idea, Patty. Yeah, if it is something that's multiple steps, you can break it up and put it into 2 different checklists. Okay. I'll move my chat out of the way. So now we're still in our client update. I'm going to send it daily progress at 9:30 in the morning from me to my seller and to my person that I'm working on this transaction with, my this other contact assignee, the front desk. And then I'm just going to hit save changes. And if we go back to the pipeline, now you can see that red off turned to like a blue-green on. So now every time you select that you completed something, if the client update is also checked, that will add to the queue and your client will receive an email at 9:30 in the morning because that's the time I set it for. You guys want to see what that email looks like? Yeah, I see some nods. Okay, so we're gonna go back into the client. Go into the client updates and you'll see on here, if you scroll through at the bottom, there's a button that says preview and you'll see, obviously this has got a sample in here, but it'll have your branding and your office at the top that feeds from your marketing profile. It's going to say John Smith, you know, the name of the client. We're checking things off the list. Here's a summary of tasks completed for. It'll populate their address in there and then they'll receive this little checklist right here of all the items that were completed the day before. And then it'll have your signature as well that also feeds from your marketing profile. So that will go out automatically on your behalf once you turn the client updates on. What do you think?
I like that.
All right, so what other questions do you guys have? Are there other marketing checklist items you think we missed? Maybe we should drop into our list here today. Too many Zoom windows. I can't get out of the screen.
How are ya?
Good, how you been?
Good. Hang on, let me mute. So the whole process.
Kathy's got somebody at the front. Let's go back.
I just started this position like a couple weeks ago, but whenever we have a property that's moving slowly, we run a Facebook ad instead of just posting it to our page. We actually will run some advertisements sometimes.
Perfect. So let me add that to our checklist. We'll open up marketing and you guys can, copy all this stuff down. So let's go add an item. So that's a Facebook ad. So maybe I'll put Facebook paid ad, right? We're gonna go ahead and hit save. What else are you doing to market? You're sending maybe, I don't remember if we put emails on there. Broker emails, maybe doing a blast to brokers in the area. What about emailing people that live in the neighborhood or calling people that live in the neighborhood, right?
Isn't that the circle prospecting?
Or door knocking. Well, so that we put direct mail for that one
Oh,
specifically.
okay.
But yes, that is also, that's the same idea. You can circle prospect through direct mail. That's the most common way. But if you are tracking your database and using your tags and you know where people live, you can search by that tag, email the people in that neighborhood. Hey, this just came up in your neighborhood. You want to help me find your new neighbor? Pick who lives by you, right? Or hey, this just was listed in your neighborhood and it was listed for this much. Do you know how much equity you have in your home? So one's for buyers and one's for sellers, right? What other things do you guys do? Nobody markets. You don't have to right now, right? Is that what I'm hearing? You can make the little neighborhood video right inside designs. Oh, I think I missed something in the chat. Can we print it off in any format so we could reference what we'll be doing? So I would put these things in your listing presentation. That's a great question. I wouldn't have it as a separate piece of paper that you hand them. Actually incorporate this right into your listing presentation. And then you don't have to worry about having an ongoing checklist. You just update your presentation as you update your processes and your offerings. I don't think that there's a way to like actually download all of this. You could probably just take a screenshot, print the screenshot off. Let's see. You could, here's an idea. You could set up a test email, listing for yourself as the client. Assign yourself the client updates, check everything off, and you'll get the email the next day, and it'll have the whole list in there for you. And then you'd have a sample of the email too that you could show them.
Do agents still do flyers for people to pick up that are located by the for sale sign, or is that?
I do
since
still see
COVID?
those. I don't think it's something that every single person does, but I'm looking for a house myself right now, and they are definitely out there. Or flyers, on a table inside the house, or a brochure. I don't think that they're as prevalent as they had been, yet people are definitely still using them. And that's something that's more, if your client wants it, you're going to do it, right? You're not going to just say, well, people aren't doing that anymore. Why not have it? It's an easy thing to just print off, a flyer. You guys get the print, you have access to the big printers at the offices. You can order prints if you want like fancy paper. You can use your Office Depot discount that you get through Keller Williams. And you don't have to print off 500 of them, right? Just put a nice little stack in there for them to help just appease your clients. Or outside, like you said, on just the listed sign, the listing sign. Little brochure box. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. So what did you guys, what's something new you learned today?
How to create the checklist.
Yeah, Mike said the same thing, how to create the actual checklist. What are you guys going to implement? Oh, Delise said she didn't even know the checklist existed. Well, I'm glad we brought some awareness to you, around it to you. Yeah. Yeah, and this is just one piece of the checklist. You guys can build this out across every process that you have when it comes to a listing or a buyer, right? So I'm in the marketing phase. So we talked about all the marketing pieces, right? Well, what happens when we're in negotiations? What do you have to do, right? Build out your checklist for that. If you guys are in launch coaching, your launch coaches will have like a sample starter list for you. So ask them about that. And it's just helpful because, like I said, you don't have to recreate the wheel every time, right? Was there a marketing piece that somebody learned about today that maybe they didn't know was something they or hadn't thought about doing themselves? Broker tour? My watch is telling me to stand up, you guys. I'm already standing. I'm not moving enough. So that the checklist existed. Anything else?
I hadn't thought about broker tours being a networking opportunity as well as learning the inventory.
Yeah, that's a great little tip we got from Kathy. See, this is why when you get together, the mastermind, right? All right, perfect. Well, it is 1:50 our time. We have a 2 o'clock today. So unless you guys have any questions, I think we'll wrap up for the day. I see, oh, something else came in. She said it was super helpful. I'll be going back and reviewing the video. Perfect. Yeah, check this out. Come back, go into Command, follow along, pull up, Command and type in your checklist as the video is playing, pause the video, whatever you want. And then next week we are doing, I always forget in the moment. So 1 o'clock next Thursday, it will be a half-hour class around something good. Print marketing. We're going to talk about print marketing. So we'll be talking about designs and how to do some print marketing right through designs. So that'll be 1 o'clock next week for Mastery Marketing. Thank you guys all for coming today.
Thank you, Amy.
We'll see you then.